Guys, welcome to today's video where I want to save you even more money on your mechanic repair bills. If your front struts are starting to go out on your Lexus GX470, there's actually reason to be excited because Strut Masters has a nice static setup that replaces the stock units with a brand new set of struts that are already assembled, so no need to use any scary spring compressors. I'm gonna show you how to do this job in as little as a half hour per side if you know what you're doing. If you're new to suspension work, this may take you a bit longer, so make sure to budget your time accordingly. But I'm gonna show you everything you need to know to replace the front struts on your Lexus GX470. Let's go. Okay, Lexus owners, you know what to do for your beverage of choice while working on this vehicle, so get your Starbucks out and get ready to get to work. First, we have this ABS/wheel speed sensor line that goes down through this whole knuckle assembly. So what you're gonna need to do is remove all attachments to the suspension, starting with this 12mm that holds in the ABS line bracket. And you kind of just pull it out of the knuckle like this. Then you want to remove the entire front sway bar, including the end links and the frame mounts. To save time, I kept the front engine skid plate in place, but if you're, again, new to suspension, you could just remove the skid plate and take the front sway bar off that way. After that, remove the 10mm bolt that goes into the upper control arm that mounts that ABS wire to it as well. That can get caught up, and the thing we're trying to avoid here is stretching that wire because it's very difficult to replace and can cause all sorts of issues with ABS and traction control. Next, we're removing the lower strut bolt. To do this, I use some penetrating oil like PB Blaster. This just soaks into the threads and makes it far easier to remove nuts and bolts. So get your 19mm wrench on the bolt side by the axle to back it, and then use a socket wrench to remove the nut. And you should be able to remove it pretty easily, especially if you use the penetrating oil. Now we need to remove this top electronics bracket and then separate the upper control arm from the knuckle. To remove that top bracket, I tried to use one of these Torx fittings with one of these adjustable crescent wrenches, and it worked on the other side, but on this side it got stripped, so we had to go ahead and remove the electronics assembly and do this the old-fashioned way, using a crowbar to pry that plastic electronics junk piece off for the active suspension. And if you're curious, this is kind of what it looks like. So we don't need that at all. All we're trying to do is get to this nut under that assembly so we can remove the bracket, and then that will allow us to drop the strut down through the strut mount. Once we remove those 3 top strut nuts, then it'll just drop through that strut mount, and you don't need this piece at all, it's junk. Next, get some zip ties or a bungee cord ready. We're gonna need that in a second. Then remove the cotter pin from the castle nut on the upper control arm to knuckle connection there, and then get a 19mm wrench or socket and remove that castle nut completely at first, and then go ahead and screw it on a few threads just to not only protect the threads, but to keep the assembly in place once you separate those 2 pieces. Just get a hammer and hit the smash pad on that knuckle assembly a couple times and it should come loose. Now with your zip tie or bungee cords ready, remove the castle nut completely from that connection point, and the upper control arm should kind of spring up from there. And we want to attach the top of the knuckle to the upper control arm just to make sure that the knuckle doesn't rotate too far out. If this knuckle comes too far out away from the connection point, you can actually pull the inner axle out of the differential and cause a whole bunch of more headaches that you do not want to deal with. So just make sure it stays close enough to where it started out. Now just remove those 3 14mm nuts at the top of the strut assembly. That rear one may give you a bit of trouble, so have some long wrenches ready for that. Next, we're going to remove the lower strut bolt completely. And to do this, you can push down on the lower control arm to relieve some pressure and get the bolt out more easily. And I put the whole nut bolt assembly back together so I don't lose anything. Now it's time to remove the strut. To do that, just drop it straight down in front of the lower control arm. As you can see here, the sway bar was a bit in the way for me, so as soon as I moved it out toward me, the whole thing just dropped down, no problem. then you're just going to reposition yourself so that you can pull the strut right out of the suspension assembly, just like this. I wanted to make sure I included a whole unedited version of this so I could show how easy it is to do. And keep in mind, I didn't even remove the tie rod in this. I just removed the upper control arm connection. So that's what the whole strut looks like. Here you can clearly see that I had plenty of room to remove the strut without removing too much of the other suspension components. The lower control arm, because I removed the upper control arm connection, it was able to move freely. I'm able to move the sway bar back and forth. And for that reason, there's no need to remove the tie rod and spend the extra time on that. So that's just a time-saving measure if you want to use it. Now here I have the brand new struts next to the old ones. As you can see, there was a lot of fluid kind of leaking out of these struts, and that probably is why they're bad right now. It looks like we lost that seal as I get rudely interrupted by a fighter jet. Anyway, as I was saying, here are the new struts. As you can see, they look like they're much higher quality. They have the nice dust boots around the shock body, so you don't have to worry about that. You have the glide ride technology that replaces the active suspension with a very nice riding static suspension tuning. And quick note, make sure you use the right strut for the right side. So this one's labeled R. Make sure that one goes on the passenger side. The other one is labeled L, and obviously that goes on the driver's side. So remove the top strut nuts, and then we're going to install the new strut, just the way we removed the old one. As you can see here, I'm showing that you can't really install the bottom into that cradle and try to just put the strut over because the upper control arm gets in the way and those studs are a bit too long anyways. So you have to drop it in front of the lower control arm, lift the upper control arm out of the way kind of, and then you can actually just sneak the strut studs straight into that strut mount at the top and just put those studs through the holes that are meant to mount it there. Once you have the studs through those holes, you can kind of push the lower strut into that cradle. And to do this, you may need to push down on the lower control arm again to give you a bit more room to help the lower strut slip into that cradle. And while you're at it, go ahead and put a couple of nuts on the top just to make sure that strut assembly doesn't fall through again and you have to start all over. So that's what I'm doing here, just screwing them on loosely so it stays in place. Now let's get the lower strut bolt ready by putting anti-seize on it. This not only ensures great performance of the struts, but it also makes it so you won't have to deal with any rust issues should you ever have to replace these in the future. So here I'm just working the lower strut in and installing the lower strut bolt. I did have to wrestle this in a little bit. It would help a lot if someone was able to push it in while I was pushing down a lower control arm, but I was able to use a hammer, some leverage, get creative to get that lower strut bolt to go right into its place. Just like that. And there it is. Now it's time to put some medium strength thread locking compound like Loctite here, and then install that lower strut nut and torque it down to spec. I'm going to leave a whole bunch of helpful torque specs in the description if you have any questions. So now it's time to do the same thing we just did on the lower strut mount to the upper strut mount with all these upper strut nuts. Put some Loctite on and tighten them down just like this. Now just put some anti-seize where the upper control arm meets the knuckle and get ready to put that assembly back together. So here's how it kind of comes down. Cut the zip tie or remove the bungee cord and get ready to put these two pieces together. Now I had to get a bit creative with this process because the upper control arm actually does have a lot of spring pressure on it and it kind of wants to spring back up, and you really have to put some effort into it to make it work. So what I did is I got a second jack below the lower control arm, jacked the lower control arm up a little bit to raise the knuckle up, and that allowed me to bring that upper control arm straight into the assembly and was able to get the castle nut onto a couple threads. And once I had a couple threads on there, I knew that I was home free, and all I had to do was tighten it down with a 19mm socket and reinstall the cotter pin just the same as I took it out. So now I'm reattaching all of those ABS lines, wheel speed sensor lines, all that good stuff with the 10mm bolts on the top and the 12mm on the side, reinstalling the front sway bar with the 14mm frame mounts and the 17mm end link mounts. And that's it, everyone. Once that's all back in place, your front suspension, your front struts have been replaced. So let's go check it out with a little test. Put that ramp there to unload the suspension a bit. So far, so good. All right. Everything looks good. Nothing crazy happening. Articulating well. Check the back. Let's see how she drives. All right, the first speed bump. Front, let's see how many. Oh, no second order oscillations. It's like, all right, back. Oh, it's tight, it's tight. I didn't expect it to feel very different, so we'll see. All right, a little diagonal action. Okay, before, when you went over these diagonally, it would like teeter-totter for like a solid 10-15 seconds afterward. Right off the bat, it feels a bit faster, not faster, the engine's making the same power, but more of that energy is making it to the ground instead of getting lost in the suspension. So like when I accelerate like that and I brake, the brakes feel more effective and the engine feels more effective. So because I just think it's not as sloppy in the suspension. Before I would get like an intense like hiss whenever I went over speed bumps too, so it'd be like psh, psh, like the shocks were kind of blown, but now just really solid. So guys, thank you so much for watching today's video. If you found today's video useful, you know what to do. Smash the like button, subscribe, all that good stuff, and we'll see you in the next one.